Hello, my fellow Homo sapiens and free thinkers, hopefully. My name is Anthony. I'm a 19-year-old, and I thank you for taking your time to come to this YouTube page to hear me shout from my basement soapbox. As I'm sure you can already tell, I'm not the best at impromptu speeches or anything, as you can tell by the... It's previously scripted, but don't worry, it's by none other than myself. And I'd also like to take a moment to apologize for the fact that a channel like this is even necessary, and very, very unfortunate. I'm not going to bullshit with you, though. I'm not going to feed you the same stuff that America's favorite news networks are feeding you. What you're hearing is what needs to be said, probably, and I know I'm definitely not the first to say any of it, and in this day and age, honestly, I really hope I'm not the last. But hopefully I shine a light on it that'll make it click for some that it wouldn't just quite fit together for others. And hopefully all without making myself look like a total idiot. Before I even start pumping out a bunch of videos, whether I'm going to be making them daily, every other day, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, hell, I don't even know yet. I'm gonna make an attempt to shoo away at least some of the, now I'm going to coin this term, as you'll see, for sake of not calling them far, far worse. Neo-nationalist, silver spoon-fed, blind flag wavers that I'm sure we've all encountered, will encounter, and will always encounter. I know it'll probably be to no avail, but honestly, if you don't try, then the good fight doesn't exist now, does it? Because trying's all we have, and honestly, if you disagree, please tell me about it, because one of my passions is making a blind idiot see themselves for what they really are. A blind idiot. Seeing as terrorism, especially, seems to be the favorite topic of these neo-nationalists, I'm going to tackle these topics, all in a nice, convenient little introductory nutshell that's easy to understand. First off, I've had this said to me so many times that I lost count, as, if I remember correctly, somewhere in the 40s. So I'll respond to this before it's even said to me again. Hey, Anthony, if you're so unhappy here, why don't you move elsewhere? Are you fucking kidding me? Myself and many, many others like myself are fighting to keep this country together, and to try to prevent the probably inevitable global backlash that is sure to eventually come to us. I didn't make this page to slander America. I made this page to fight for America the only way a scrawny little punk-ass kid like me can, through knowledge and education. If anything, you're fighting against what our founding fathers wanted you and I to fight for in the first place. So if you're looking for someone to tell to get out of the God-blessed USA, look in the mirror. Oh, but we've given this world so much. They have no reason to hate us, and neither do you. Oh, ooh, we gave the world the iPhone. We should all be really fucking proud. The war on terror, first off, is a United States-sanctioned terrorist campaign. Plain and simple. Disagree? Please look up the definition of terrorism and then try to tell me otherwise, because I'm not going to hold your hand through it. You know how to use the internet, obviously, so I really hope you know how to Google a definition. Or better yet, even pick up an encyclopedia. Hell, Google Mike Preisner, if that sounds easier. For your sake and mine and your fellow YouTubers, please don't make yourself look stupid right off the bat. Terrorism is perpetuated by both sides of the conflict and of war, and the cycle of hate will only end if we can see past hate, transcend beyond everything, and seek the good in humanity, which still exists, hopefully, somewhere underneath the rebel of vengeance. As Gandhi once said, eye for an eye and the whole world will be blind. But he was a brown guy, so he must have backed terrorism too, right? Really, think with an open mind and with empathy. If another country sent drones into U.S. soil, dropped bombs and missiles on innocent people, including children, what would we call them? Terrorists. Sure, so say that we're still not terrorists, but the only logic, and I'm going to be using this term very broadly here, behind that is that the hundreds of thousands, millions upon millions of innocents we've killed didn't have time to even feel terror before our bombs rained down on their heads. Imperialism, conquest, terrorism, honestly, it doesn't matter what word you put on it. It's wrong. And for the sake of argument, let's at least try to look at it from this perspective of someone who thinks what I'm saying is uneducated and terribly, terribly wrong. Really try. Now let's look at a few things while you're in that mindset. What about the crimes being committed by our very own government every day on the other sides of the world? I mean, there's crimes against people in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, Lebanon, you name it. Car bombings throughout Iraq by American agents. There's sanctions against the Iranian people who picked out Shah, who, as I hope we all know, was an American puppet anyway, and wanted their own democracy. I mean, or how about the chaos in Egypt we've helped reign to weaken the country against its enemy? Or how about threatening North Korea with crushing retaliation, even though the whole missile scare was a government smokescreen in the first place? Or how about supporting Israel with billions and billions of taxpayer dollars like yours and mine comes out of our wallets, and updating its nuclear arsenal day by day to annihilate an enemy that's not even an enemy, just because they have the God-given right to do so. It's their home. But anyways, I'm going to be getting into that in a later video, you bet. So, there's a long history of our crimes in every part of the world, Cambodia and Vietnam being a couple of too long of a list of examples. I mean, just imagine if you were a citizen of one of these countries. How would you feel? I mean, the U.S. has become a target within its own borders because we make unnecessary targets beyond ours, and may each and every victim of any terrorist attack in the world rest in peace. But honestly, I'm surprised it took our enemies so long to get organized enough to take the fight back to us. I mean, did you really expect it not to happen? If you were threatening a bear's cub, would Mama Bear not come out of the cave and rip you in half? There's a difference between protecting your country and its citizens and attacking countries you don't like because you say they're out to get you, or because they have resources that you want, or because they don't agree with you, or because they stole Dictator Obama's toy horse. I don't know. Fuck it. There's plenty of times where the USA isn't even involved, asked for, or even looked at, and yet we, also using that term broadly, seem to turn up anyway in Humvees and gunships, all under the self-appointed title of the world's hero. And to top it all off, we're given democracy as a mandatory creed so that we have the constitutional right to feel guilty for having done nothing to stop this rampage. War is not a necessary evil. It's not necessary. Not necessary. It's just evil. And I really dare you to try to say our 3,000 or so casualties on September 11th are worth any more than the millions just as cowardly slaughtered by our very own government and military. Our very own government calls for the slaughtering of innocents and coins them as non-deliberate deaths, or even more offensive in my opinion, collateral damage. I really think it's a pathetic excuse to label these deaths as non-deliberate targets. By doing so, you give whatever agenda our leaders have justification to do whatever they like, just so you as a civilian don't have to feel guilty about the deaths. All this so you can drive your car to work every morning blaring Nicki Minaj on your iPhone 60 or whatever they have. I don't know, I have a fucking BlackBerry. I mean, absolutely cannot say there's a bunch of suit and ties in the Pentagon saying, oh, let's go slaughter a bunch of innocents and kids today, even though Vietnam was an exception, right? Because I only wish I could be that ignorant and they could be that stupid. But when it's to the point where human life is less than the face value, no pun intended, of a single US dollar, these actions are condemnable and, according to our law, should be met with capital punishment. In an electric chair or on the business end of a firing squad. Because America. The problem I'm trying to shed light on is deaths occurred through collateral damage as far outnumbered deaths occurred deliberately. And for what? Or do you accept that collateral deaths is an inevitable part of our defense strategy against terrorists? Is that why we're here? Is that why we have the largest defense budget than any other country in the world, and we've amassed the largest, most sophisticated military force ever even heard of, with even more sophisticated weapons of mass destruction better than any other ever developed? We've built the most military bases around the world than any other country, and we built a very highly organized task force capable of overthrowing any elected government in the world. Sounds to me like an offensive invasion force, completely capable of more collateral deaths. But that's okay, just as long as our leaders reassure us that U.S. policy does not deliberately target civilians. That makes it alright, right? That way you can sleep in your beds tonight and continue justifying our use of violence without feeling guilty about the large number of collateral deaths occurred as a result of U.S. terrorism. Oh, sorry, that was a Freudian slip. Foreign policy, or whatever they want to call it nowadays. No one in any country should excuse their own terrorist acts by saying another country also does it. That's elementary. That's like saying, oh, little Timmy kicked me in the shin, so I kicked him back. That's completely ridiculous. And I've done my homework. I mean, I know all this violates international human rights standards, and I really hope you do as well. So, let's say it's even lawful. Does that make it right to kill innocents? If so, then the attacks on the U.S. are equally justified, are they not? Of course, I think none of it's justified, so I don't think I'm saying it is. But you can't have it both ways. Even all nations have a right to kill, or none do. Just because we're the empire de jure, it really doesn't give us the right. Remember, the right of conquest, as people seem to like to call it nowadays, is the standard. Thus, if we can be conquered, then those conquerors have the right, don't they? Here's how much sense you really make when you use the typical neo-nationalist argument. We kill them because they kill us, because we kill them, because they kill us, because... oh shit, because we kill them. See, it's nothing but contradictory bullshit. And anyone who follows this logic should be even more ashamed of themselves than we should be ashamed of those that lead us. You're nothing more than enablers, and your use of unnecessary evil is detestable by all. Sit the fuck down. The banking elite, the corporation oligarchies, are the ones who rule. The politicians are the smokescreen. They're the puppet theater. They get their orders from those that control the wealth. They control the nation. They control the world. They're the ones who govern, and the politicians are just their dogs. I mean, we trained Osama bin Laden, we empowered Saddam Hussein, we knew about Pearl Harbor, the list goes on and on. We're really just a war machine. We're not into peace. I mean, peace doesn't sell weapons. Peace doesn't drive the economy. If there was peace, this country would be in economic shambles. Well, probably not. But especially if big oil is gone, right? I mean, bottom line is you just got to think with an open mind and with empathy. It's really not that hard. If another country sent drones into U.S. soil, as I said, we would call them terrorists. I mean, what are we? We're the biggest terrorist nation on planet Earth. If you don't believe me, turn off the news that I'm sure you're watching and do some research for yourself. Stay safe, stay educated, hide no longer. You'll hear from me very soon. Thank you.